Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Andrew, and along with our cats, Winston and Pierre, we make up 4 expats, 1 adventure.
And this is our first video.
Which probably shows.
We decided to start this channel to document our journey moving from the US, Austin, Texas, to Bangkok, Thailand.
And a little about us, we've been married almost 20 wonderful years. We spent about 20 years in Santa Monica, California, before moving out to Austin, Texas for the last 2 years. And that's what brought us here.
Yes.
And I think there's so much to cover. We've been in Bangkok now for 3 months, but I think for this first video, what we're going to do is we're just going to concentrate on our decision to retire and move abroad and go right up until our arrival at Bangkok Airport.
Sounds great.
Okay. Perfect. All right, let's get started. All right, so why did we decide to retire and move abroad?
Well, we've always loved to travel, so we knew that we wanted to do more of that.
Yeah.
We also wanted a new adventure, and we wanted to learn a new culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something we've been thinking about for a couple of years, so sort of on the back burner, watching videos and looking at different countries. It was really exciting. We hadn't planned to do it yet. I'm 62.
I'm 45.
And so I think our original plan was we would wait till maybe I was 64, perhaps even 65 to retire. But we got thrown a bit of a curveball. In December 24, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And I think when we got that diagnosis, we just sort of looked at each other and thought, hey, why wait? Is this something maybe we could do now? So that's really what we decided. And I think another factor was I've seen some videos where people talked about this concept of health span versus lifespan. And that really sunk in, talking about more of the good years you're going to have.
Yeah.
And so I think that really factored in as well. So we're here in Bangkok for 3 months and we already love it. It was kind of a decision of maybe it didn't start in a great place, but it certainly ended in a great place because we're certainly happy here. All right. So we were thinking a lot of different countries to move to. Why Bangkok, Thailand?
Well, we had a few countries at the beginning of the list, right, that we really were interested in moving to. One of them was Mexico, and the other one was Ecuador. Yeah. And slowly we started adding more countries. Yeah. Panama was one of them, Spain and Portugal, also Albania, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand.
Yeah, I think it was 10 or 11.
Yes.
And we'd watched so many videos on all of these countries, 200-300 videos probably. And so there's a lot to choose from. And we had to look at a lot of factors. I think some of our biggest concerns were cost of living, quality of life, certainly visa requirements and pet requirements. For me, the decision was getting a little overwhelming. I sort of had this decision paralysis. I tend to over-research things. And I just didn't want to make a mistake. I thought, oh boy, where are we going to retire? This is a big decision. And you really, I think, helped save the day, at least for me mentally, when you said...
I said, don't look at it the way where we're going to live for the rest of our life. Look at it as where we're going to start our journey.
And that was the best thing to hear because it just took all the pressure off. Just where are we going to start? Why not? Let's start in Bangkok. Who knows where we're going to end up?
Yeah.
And for the video, we'll talk about the steps really to get here. What do we have to do? Because if there's anyone who's done this or was thinking about it, there's just a ton of logistical steps you have to go through. So we're kind of going to break them into 2 buckets going forward. We're going to talk about first, I'd say the things you need to do to get out of the U.S. or out of your home country. Yeah. What do you need to do to leave? And the second bucket will be what do you need to do to get into Thailand, where we'll cover the visa and the pet requirements. Perfect. Yeah. All right.
So what were the steps for us to leave the U.S.?
All right. Well, we had a lot of them. First and foremost, once I got the prostate cancer diagnosis, I gave notice to my employer of my intention to retire. And with that, I was able to go on 12-week medical leave, which was beneficial not only because I could get the cancer treatment, but also had freed up time to help with all this logistics that we had to do, all planning. So that was beneficial. I'd say after we gave the notice to the employer, next up was giving notice to the landlord.
Which was hard.
We had a real nice home in Pflugerville, Texas, which is north of Austin. 4-bedroom home, 2,700 square feet. Great neighbors. Everything about it was nice. But we knew, bigger things were calling and we wanted to travel and move abroad. So we had to face the question, okay, how do we downsize from 2,700 square feet and all the thousands of things in there down to seven
suitcases, a backpack, and 2 cat carriers.
Yeah, that was no small feat, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the estate sale folks really took care of that.
They did.
They cleaned the house out. It was all empty and ready to go. So that part was really helpful. I think the next thing we had to do was we booked the flight.
Yeah.
And for this, because we needed to have our pets in cabin, we decided to use Turkish Airlines. We'll talk a little bit more about their policies in a second. So we took care of that. And then I think the step that was unique for us is during my research on my prostate cancer, I realized we're in Austin, that in Houston, just 2 hours south, they had the MD Anderson Cancer Center, which is considered one of the best cancer centers in the world. So we were able to relocate down there for 2 months, and basically because of your family.
Yeah, I have family that lives in Houston, so they let us stay at their place. We stayed there for 2 months while Andrew was getting treatment, right? And that worked out great for us.
Yeah, I'm so thankful they let us come down there. And they were about 10 minutes from the center, so it just made it so easy.
Very.
And then what was also good, I think, is that my treatment ended on July 19th. And what's real nice is the medical team there basically gave us the green light.
Yeah, the oncologist even encouraged us to say, make the move, go, don't worry about this. Every 3 months, you have to get a blood test.
Yeah.
And we send the results to him. Then we get on a phone call with him. And we're just keeping track of how everything's still in the progress. So, we're glad that he gave us the green light to move.
Absolutely. So the treatment just involved hormone therapy and radiation, and that was the tough part. So now it's like she said, it's just monitoring the blood tests.
Yeah.
So I think the final step before we left is it also worked out time-wise is July 25th. I think was the end of our 3-year car lease. So we went and turned in the car, and then on 8/4 we were at the airport.
Yes. So what are the steps to get us into Thailand?
All right. Well, this is the hard part, I guess you would say. The 2 buckets here are you have to get the visa requirements taken care of and the pet import requirements taken care of. So as far as the visa requirements go, we decided being over 50, I was going to go for the non-immigrant O visa, which they also call the retirement visa here. And to do that, you can do it, which was unique for Thailand, you can do it before you're in the country, so out of country, or you can do it in country when you arrive in Thailand. We decided to apply for it before. And so we contacted a visa agent who helped us get that ball rolling. So I was able to enter Thailand with a 90-day non-immigrant O temporary visa.
Yeah.
Now, Jenny had to enter on a tourist visa. And then once my visa becomes permanent, or I should say they extend it for a year, then we can add you as a dependent. The one hiccup I'll just mention is this is the marriage certificate. So I think there was miscommunication with our visa agent. We had it certified at the state level, so we were under the impression that we just had to get it translated. But it turns out we actually had to have a couple steps done in the U.S. So would have been nice to have taken care of this when we were in Houston, but we had to have an authentication of it at the federal level. And then also it had to receive an approval from the Royal Thai Embassy in Washington, D.C. So because that wasn't done, Jenny's exit stamp was coming up on November 3rd.
Yes.
So you had to leave the border run.
I had to do a border run to Malaysia. So I left early morning. I took a flight and then was in the airport maybe for like 4 hours, and then took a afternoon flight back to Bangkok.
Yeah. So it wasn't too bad.
No.
Cost a few $100s. But at least now we'll have another 90 days.
90 days.
And in the meantime, what's happening is my family back in the U.S., they're processing this marriage certificate to kind of get it done. They'll send it to us and we can do that final step for you. Yeah, so we're getting there.
We are. Okay, so now what are the steps to get the pets into Thailand?
Okay, this is where the process is a little out of your control.
Yeah.
Going up till this point, you were deciding a lot of things. Here, you have some I guess, built-in timetables that really you have to stick to, and they can alter your plans, frankly. So first and foremost, to get a pet into Thailand, at least for cats, is we had to get a pet import permit from Thailand. And this is something that you email them for. It takes about a week for them to process it, and it's valid for 60 days. So you kind of have to look at that timetable. They recommend, and what we did is we applied for it 1 month before our departure. And true to form, we did get it back in 7 days. So we were able to print that out and have that ready.
Yeah.
The second piece, which is even more restrictive, frankly, on the timetable, is the USDA certificate.
That one was stressful.
Yeah, it really was. And that one is 10 days from the time that the USDA approves it and you get a stamp. From that day, you have 10 days to arrive in Thailand. And we got burned by that the first time.
Yeah.
So in most countries, it's actually from the day of the approval until your departure date, you have 10 days. But for Thailand, it was actually by arrival, which took 2 days. So we kind of were down to 8 days.
Yeah.
And in that time frame, you go to the vet, you're getting the certificate. They then have to mail it to the USDA. The USDA has to process it and approve it and give it the seal, and then mail it back to you before your flight. And so the first time, it didn't quite work out.
It got lost in the mail. And another thing to consider is that when you're doing this with the pets and getting the USDA paper that you need to be able to get into a country, you have to make sure that everything works out with your flights.
Yeah.
Because you only have a 10-day window, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is that the first time we had to rebook everything.
Yeah.
Because that paper got lost in the mail and we were supposed to leave. I forgot which day it was. And we had to take the cats back to the vet.
Yeah.
Do everything, do all the paperwork, and wait for the...
Yeah, and roll the dice that it would work out the second time.
And we book everything again. And lost, what, $1,000 or more?
Basically, yeah. So when we booked the flight, we had, I think it was $350 per pet and a $250 extra baggage fee.
Yeah.
When we rebooked the flight, I moved it out 2 weeks. I just assumed all that would transfer over. None of it did.
Yeah.
So we had to repay that $1,000.
And when you book we flew with Turkish Airlines, so when you book with them, they only allowed an X amount of pets per flight.
Yeah.
And it's not every flight that they allow pets either.
In fact, this is a case where you do have to call.
Yeah.
Because I remember twice, I think I called Turkish Airlines and I said, we'd like to fly on this day.
Yeah.
And they said, I'm sorry, there's somebody already who has a cat and a dog.
Yeah.
So you can't. So you can't just go book it. You really need to call to get assurance from them that this particular flight doesn't already have pets booked. So that was kind of interesting. And then I would say the other thing that will make the pet process easier, what we went and did, I'm glad we did, is I put together sort of a pet passport, just a folder with some blank clear pages where we put in all the information on the pet. We had the rabies vaccine, any other vaccines they had to have. We had the pet import permit, the stamped USDA certificate. And this is important because this was looked at quite a bit.
Yeah, they looked at it when we were at the airport in Houston. They even made copies of a lot of the papers. Also, when we were in Turkey, exactly the same. They did copies and they wanted to look at all the paperwork from the vet. And when we landed in Bangkok, the same. They made copies. They looked at every paper, making sure that dates, worked. Everything that was up to date.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect it to get that much scrutiny.
Yeah.
So it paid off to have it nice and organized in a booklet like that. So anyway, it all worked out. We were able to get on the flight, cleared everything at Houston, got the 7 bags and all that in there. And then I think for our flight itself, a tip we might have, because being in a flight for 32 hours with your cats in those little carriers was really difficult. So one thing we did is we had an 8-hour layover in Istanbul. So I think on Amazon, I just bought this little collapsible playpen, I guess you'd call it. It folds up like a little bigger than a Frisbee, I guess, but real small, very lightweight to pack.
Yeah.
And it folds up into about a 4 or 5 foot square octagon that's real tall and has mesh. And so the cats were able to run around and
stretch their legs.
Yeah. They had some food, water, litter box was even in there.
Yeah.
So that's one tip I would definitely give. That made the flight a little easier. And as far as I think the next thing really was once we arrived, I think the really other good decision, maybe the best decision, was we decided to go with this fast track check-in service. It's like a concierge check-in. And after 33 hours of flying, we were exhausted.
We were.
The cats were losing it. So this fast track service, it was actually a team waiting there for us when we arrived.
At the gate when we exit the plane. They were right there waiting for us. They took us through the inspection of the cats, our passports, everything. Yeah. They took care of our luggage.
Yeah, they went and
picked up all the 7 luggages that we had, and they walked us all the way to where our car was waiting. So that was easy.
Yeah. They made it just so simple. That could have been super stressful.
It could have taken hours.
And I will say, just once we got to the official pet import place, I think they call it the quarantine center at the BKK airport, that's where they really go over your paperwork.
They do.
That's where that 10-day window came in, and I hadn't realized it, but we arrived on the 10th day.
Yeah.
That's how close and tight that USDA policy is. Had that been another day, we might have had to do this all over again. And the one tip I would give about there is they do require exact cash Thai baht.
Yeah.
So I had to run to an ATM, I remember, for that part. Yeah. But after that, basically, we hit the cars that were waiting and got into the Airbnb to relax and sleep for a day or two.
Yeah, because we were exhausted. Yeah. The cats were exhausted too. Yeah.
So that got us here. Hopefully that covers the whole travel, getting us from the U.S. to Bangkok, Thailand. I think we're obviously looking at doing other videos down the road. Cost of living, finding a pet-friendly apartment.
Which is not easy.
Yeah, it's a little more difficult here than at least in the U.S. we're finding. So we'll do videos on that. We'll certainly do a fuller pet policy video, and really just our day-to-day life, how things are going here.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you for watching and for joining us.
Yeah, and if you like our video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
And we'll see you in another video.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.
Bye.